Well, Ryan Divish has found his second home, maybe a third home, Kansas City, because of all the barbecue, and he joins us, our MLB Insider, brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941, located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District. They are family-owned and operated for over 40 years, delivering top-notch customer service and a unique 12-lane experience. Check out chaletbowl.com. I talked to Reggie Frederick, Ryan Divish. He is working on T-shirts, bowling T-shirts with our names on it. It's going to be fantastic. A 70s retro style. Yeah.
Cursive name, cursive name.
Yes, absolutely. You love yourself some Kansas City. Your chance to eat as much barbecue as you want. So I would imagine you enjoy this trip. You don't hand this one off to anybody else.
Well, I have handed it off in the past because, this is usually a weekend when it's on a weekend, it's where I go play fast pitch softball and try and relive my past glory. And so Adam's done it a few times. He's been here for some of the crazy comebacks, where the Mariners get up and then they, get up 8 runs and then the Royals come back and win. But this year, obviously taking the sabbatical, there's no room for me to take off trips. So doing this one and, it's pretty great. In terms of American League, cities and my favorite trips, this is probably, or in all of baseball, it's probably top 5 just because if you stay in the plaza area, it's very walkable. There's lots of stuff. And then you can, you're about a 1 mile Uber to Q39 barbecue and Joe's. It used to be called Oklahoma Joe's, but the two owners had a split. And so those are really close by. And I mean, you're talking about some of the best barbecue in the world, and then there's also this other place called LC's. It's on the way out in kind of the just area towards the park that's in the industrial district, and LC's this old black dude that just sits there. And I mean, they have the best burnt ends, and you walk in there and it's he'll just yell at you, "What'd you want?" And you're like, "I'll take some burnt ends," And so it's really good. I love this trip. It's really cool. That park is still very cool for being kind of retro and everything like that. And I like this trip a lot. The downfall is you can't walk to the stadium or whatever. You have to rent a car or you could Uber. And the other part is it can be sweltering hot with lots of, late summer thunderstorms. But no, this is all pretty good otherwise.
Well, a great start to this road trip. I mean, it's one of the most important, if not the most important road trip this franchise has ever undertaken, and it gets off to just an unbelievable start. And we start with the man of the hour, Divish, the man of the year. He continues to amaze everyone. Hits 2, 1 from each side. Normally no one would be upstaged if they went 5 for 5 with 3 home runs, but Dom Canzone is upstaged by a guy who went 55 and 56. And I don't know what else we can say about the season that Cal Raleigh's put together. It's amazing.
Yeah, Dom Canzone had a game that only one other Mariner player had in the history of the franchise. 3 homers, 5 hits, Mickey Brantley. But Cal did something that only 2 players, Ken Griffey Jr. and Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle versus Mickey Brantley, it's absurd. Honestly, I can't, and the single best part is how it happened. He takes the pitch off the throat, the bounce ball off the throat, just pissed off to all end. And I think initially he was mad at Logan, but he was more mad at himself. He said afterwards, "No, it's my fault. I got to keep my head down." But he had this huge welt. So it wasn't just on his throat. It was on his collarbone, this huge welt with some seams here. And he was just angry, and then goes out and hits a home run. And then the next pitch next time up hits another home run. I mean, Dan Wilson, without coming out and saying why Cal Raleigh should be MVP, used that to kind of highlight it. Here's this guy that takes one off the throat, whatever, comes back out, hits another homer, then catches the rest of the game. Not to mention he had a double on his first at bat. I mean, it just kind of encapsulates all the reasons why people think Cal Raleigh should be the MVP right there. Just the beating he takes and the production he provides.
What do you think the odds are? I mean, you talk to a lot of these baseball people around the country. What the odds that he wins it?
I'd say it's about 50-50, whereas before I thought it was maybe 60-40 Judge or even 70-30.
Mm.
I do think that, like, Judge will get the two New York votes regardless, just like Cal will get the two Seattle votes. I mean, I have a MVP vote. I think we'd know who I would vote for because, like, I see it every day.
Yeah.
If there was a catcher in New York putting up the numbers that Cal Raleigh was putting up, I would vote for that catcher. Then again, if there was a catcher in New York putting up the numbers that Cal Raleigh's putting up, they'd be writing books and songs about him right now. Like, they'd be getting his plaque ready for Cooperstown.
It's
And
interesting.
so
I don't think you say it's 50-50 and you know what, you're probably right. I think we're up here and we're so tucked away from everything that I think we maybe discount maybe what others across the country think about particular players in this area. And maybe don't give his season or anyone's season that's putting, something historic like this, maybe quite in the perspective from a national point of view. Listen, I think he's going to win it. I think he's going to win it. I'll be honest with you. I think it's going to be by more votes than people realize.
I could see that. I mean, I do think he's become a national story. He was a national story at before the All-Star game, like talking with Alex Mayer, who works for the Mariners. He was kind of like the body man for Cal during all the media crush. He was the biggest story of the All-Star game, and that was leading up to the home run derby. It wasn't even just, and then afterwards you look at all the stuff, it led Sports Center last night. It was on, he was top section of Sports Center. I think, and I do think that, like, the writers in Houston, Texas, Anaheim, Oakland that see him more often, I think have a better gauge for how good he is. But I do think the concept of a catcher doing this, and most baseball writers know the physical beating that catchers take and the amount of times he's catching and what he's doing for this franchise. I think they understand it. Even as good as Judge's numbers are offensively, he's essentially playing DH more often now than anything in the last month of the season, some outfield. I think there is a recognition that the totality of what he's done for Cal is pretty high. The thing is like, it's how do you view the most valuable player award, because it's so nebulous, the description. It's not the best offensive player.
Sure.
And how do you merit value? Do you put into stock the team aspect of it all?
Yeah.
Does making the postseason matter in your value? I mean, like, honestly, for either guy, if you take them off their team, they're not a good team. But I mean, the Mariners, if you don't have Cal Raleigh, let's say you were rolling out Mitch Garver as your primary, Harry Ford as your backup, or Blake Hunt as your backup, where are they at as a team right now? I think, that's the whole difference of, like, replacement level versus what you're getting, and I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot of people out here who feel he's going to get screwed over because of Judge, where he plays, the media, and all that. You and I have both watched MLB Network probably way too much than we should. I mean, the last few days, it's the top story not only on their MLB Network Central show, the Brian Kenny show right afterwards, although they have to take a New York slant to it because God forbid anyone mentions Cal Raleigh's name in the same sentence as Mickey Mantle, because then everyone gets offended by it. But the point is, you're starting off these national shows with him. And I mean, long segments about him. So I think he's going to win it. And I think we're going to look at the voting and go, oh, that wasn't as close as I thought it was going to be. But
so in, like, for people that don't know, every MLB city has two writers, or American League city. So, like, there's 30 MLB cities there. But, like, the 15 American League markets, they vote. You have two writers vote. So it's not everybody in the BBWA. It's two writers from each of the 15 American League markets. They vote. You vote on 10 guys, in order, and then it's weighted. And obviously first place votes have the highest. So, I mean, like, you would hope when it comes to voting in the MVP, that the people that have this privilege to do it take it pretty seriously.
Sure.
You know,
Do we
that go.
who is the other voter besides you?
I don't remember now. It might be Kramer, or no,
Daniel
I
Kramer
think it
of
might be
MLB.com.
no, it might be Tim Booth. So it used to be because like I choose who votes for what, but I do it before the season starts. Um, I usually, if I voted MVP one year, then I vote Cy Young the next. And like I usually work opposite of Daniel, who's the other guy that's
So
there.
you
And
get to pick both.
no. I mean, we technically could, but I don't do that.
Oh,
I
okay.
have, so I split it up. So, in past years when Larry had a vote, Larry and I were usually one or on the same, and then like D- Daniel or Greg Johns, whoever the MLB writer was, plus somebody else, Corey Brock, I think 1 year, or
Mm-hmm.
um, one of our other columnists maybe. So I don't remember exactly. I think it's me and Tim Booth have the MVP. I'm not certain though. And then like I think Adam Jude and Kramer have Cy Young, and then I
Okay.
don't we have two other people vote Rookie of the Year, two other people vote Manager of the Year.
Okay. Well, it'd be interesting to find I mean, we'll see the list after it comes out, but he's and again, we're talking MVP stuff, and this is the thing he doesn't want to talk about.
No,
He hates talking about himself after games. This is what makes him so likable, because
yeah.
it's just not about him. It's about the team, and the team is on fire. Divish, I don't know if they're going to lose again. I mean, it's 10 straight. They maintain their lead over
Well, they say
Houston.
a lefty starter today, so that's always a coin toss. But
Oh, that's
he
right.
should be on
Well,
he should be on a limited pitch count though, because he's coming. I think it's his first start off the IL or second one, but
yeah,
and
because it was,
he's really good.
yeah. Well,
But
but they keep doing, and they're playing hot at the right time, and they've maintained that half game lead over Houston, who won last night, but again, or I should say on Tuesday, but they've got the news now of Yordan Alvarez, and they just have had a season of injuries, and then don't look now, but as we're sitting here on a Wednesday, they're only 2 games back now of Detroit for that second seed, which brings its own luxury of not having to play for a week, just kicking
yeah,
up and relaxing and not playing in the wild card. So
some people don't like that though,
who doesn't
because
like that?
it's not like the idea of not playing for a week, that it takes people
Mm.
out of the rhythm and stuff.
Yeah,
How do you
well,
combat that? Because I don't know what the overall record is for the division winners and like losing that first round because the other teams have played and had consistent reps, and because
yeah.
baseball is such a daily sport. So that's a debate for another day. You're right
You
about
think Cal would
Cal.
like to take a week off?
Oh yeah, I don't know though, because he says that he gets more sore on days when
Oh,
he doesn't do anything. Like he feels it more than on days. And Hancock actually said that as well. Like
huh,
the idea that you just go out and you're going to pitch, so you prepare yourself every day. Your body feels better.
fair.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like it's funny, Cal doesn't like talking about himself, and I think like all this extra attention isn't something he's real comfortable with. But he also understands like it's a necessary part of his accomplishments. He's not hiding from it. Like he does it willingly if it's not like enjoyable for him, and there's parts where it is, but you look at the answers he gives, a lot of times if we ask him about someone else, you get way better answers than the
Sure.
ones about himself. And I mean, that's, and I'd rather see that than somebody's out there like, hey man, yeah, I'm great, like,
Yeah, just not his MO. But what you've seen in this 10-game winning streak, and what you've seen with this lineup, is at times it can be so dangerous because it is so deep. Right? They don't have the holes that they once had, and when they all click at the same time, and I know Dom Canzone told you guys yesterday, that's the best thing about this group, is that you don't have to, there's not this pressure to deliver, because
yeah.
it is so deep. But this is, without question, the deepest lineup that they've ever had. I mean, to have someone like a Dom Canzone hitting where he's hitting, he's having a terrific year. I mean, they can sustain or withstand in this winning streak, not getting unbelievable production from Suarez. At times it's struggling JP, although it's not affecting his glove. They can withstand all of that.
Yeah. I mean, even that year when they made the playoffs, Cal was really good, but it was like two guys. It felt like, JP that year and Julio carrying them down the stretch. And then, Cal was pretty good too. But like it was just they were so reliant on a handful of guys, whereas like now you look at it, and I think the bigger part, and yeah, they've hit, a ton of home runs, but they don't necessarily need to hit a home run to score. Like they can score in other ways. Naylor isn't just a home run, all or nothing kind of guy. Saw what Robles did last night. He was on base a lot,
Mhm.
created some havoc, triple. I mean, Canzone is such a better hitter than he was, you know, a year ago. And then they're one of the bats off their bench is Luke Raley, who hit 25 bombs last year, 28
Yeah.
bombs last year. Like they have real pieces. And I think and then we didn't even talk about Polanco, who's been one of their best hitters this month. I mean, like they just have the lineup construction is just better than it's ever been. Now,
Right.
like should it have been that way all year? Yeah, you can make that argument, but it is what it is now. They went out and done it. And I think they're just in such a better position offensively, going into a possible postseason than they were a few years ago when they made it. Pitching wise, that's TBD a little bit, but for the most part, yeah, it looks like it's pretty, because you got to hit in the postseason and you
Sure.
can't strike out. That's one thing. We saw it. Just can't have much guys are strikeout laden, because you're going to see the best pitching, and so strikeouts are going to happen. You need guys that can kind of offset the strikeout pitchers you face by being able to put the ball in play consistently.
Yeah, it's they just click in the same time, and I think also what you've seen during this winning streak there as well has been the play of the performances of the starters. We've talked about the starters all year long, right? And how because of injuries and production they haven't been as consistent as they were and have been in the past, but all of a sudden you're seeing those guys starting to be much better. Like Logan Gilbert's last few starts have been good. Bryce Miller's coming off an 11 strikeout performance. Actually, was it more than that? Was it more than 11? No,
I
wasn't
think it
that
was
his?
11. Wu had
Yeah.
14, I think.
Yeah, and then Kirby looked dominant the other night. I mean, Woo's been consistent all year long. And then when you get in the postseason, I mean, to have the plethora of arms that they have and guys that they won't even use as starters, I mean, that's to me the best sign. What is lost in the Cal explosion and the offense playing well during this winning streak is those starters. They finally look like the starters we are accustomed to seeing, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, is it them though, or is it the opponents too? I mean, like
Yeah.
the Cardinals and the Angels were pretty bad, but like Logan didn't have as many strikeouts last night. And I know he's working on trying to be a little bit more efficient, uh, um, to get deeper in games, because that's been the thing. Is like a year ago, he was getting deeper into games because he was a little more efficient, a little more contact early, then get the strikeouts late. That hasn't been the case. He's got a ton of strikeouts. I mean, his percentage is one of the highest in baseball. But like, in the grand scheme of things, when you get to the postseason, you're not asking him to go 7. You're
Yeah.
asking him to go 5, because then you can bring Bryce Miller in for 2 innings and say, "Hey, Tex, just go." And I mean, what we've seen from Emerson Hancock lately, I thought has been really outstanding.
They've been great.
All their bullpen guys have been really pretty good. We saw them give up some runs yesterday, but their leverage guys have been really, really good of late. So I think that's been big. Yeah, the pitching will matter. It's how you use them, but you will have more options, and you're not asking, like I said, to go 7, 6, 7, 8 innings from a starter in the postseason. You just want them to go a good 5. And the strikeouts, like we said, strikeouts matter. If you can strike guys out over
Yeah.
5 innings, and then the next guy, that changes how you play the game. Postseason games are played so differently. And you look at their bullpen too. I do think that they have more diverse options to get guys out comparatively to the last time, where they didn't even have a real left-hander. They had Matt Boyd, who was a starter, pitching out of the bullpen when they went to the postseason, and then they threw Robbie Ray in there. Like, I think you have Gabe Spire, who is a legit lefty reliever that gets guys out. You have that card to play when you get into the postseason, and that'll be huge for them.
Who do you think? I mean, they have to think about this stuff constantly, but right now, who do you think is in their playoff rotation?
I would say probably if it's at home, I would think it would be Wu, Gilbert, Castillo. because Castillo pitches so well at home. And then that gives you two horses that you can bring in. And like, I'm sure what they would do too is make sure that like the piggyback day for Castillo, George is available and ready to go. Like if he doesn't have it early, you're just hammering to George right away. Whether it's the first inning, the third inning, you make the switch, and then you have Bryce for the other two guys. That's how I would do it. If it was on the road, I think they would put Castillo in the pen and then George is one of the three. But they could still go with Castillo and just, like I said, always have George right there ready to go if Luis doesn't have it. Luis has looked a lot better physically, like his mechanics look better, his velocities come back, all that stuff. So I think that's a good sign as well. And you don't really know how Castillo would be out of the bullpen in the sense of getting ready. Like with Kirby, we saw what he could do in one bullpen, one inning. I mean, remember that year in Toronto, that was freaking crazy.
Right.
Just pumping 99 with like Furious George looks at everybody. So, I mean, I think you have some options there, but I think that third spot, they're probably wavering between Castillo and Kirby.
So if
Bryce just sat out the starts this year, I think to have the feel. And I think you look at Bryce, and tell him to go as hard as he can for 2 innings. I think that projects easier.
But you think it changes if they don't win the division, they become the wild card, they go to Houston, that you think Kirby would be the third guy?
Yeah, but George has pitched pretty well there in Houston as well against that team. So, I mean, if they have to face Houston in the playoff series, not having Alvarez is game changer.
Yeah, and it sounds like he's done for the rest of the regular season. That they may get him back. I think the chances they may get him back for the postseason, but that's a huge may. And anyone who saw the injury, him running across home plate, that did not look good for him.
Basically what happened to Freddie Freeman, and although Freddie was pretty good in the postseason, but it was pretty limited, with Alvarez, they're not asking him to play in the field anyway. So I don't know. They're in a pretty good spot if they get in. Like, again, we've said it before, if they just get in, they're in a pretty good spot. The one thing that you would like for them to be able to do is that last series in Seattle. But then again, like in that last series against the Dodgers, what if you're playing to get the division, like the second best seed and get that, 5 days off? I mean, do you run guys or do you still set up your rotation if you've got the division clinched? Because then you want to set up your rotation, make sure guys are ready, so you're not running a guy out there that you wouldn't ordinarily do because they don't have the requisite rest. I haven't looked at the slotting yet, but I mean that's something they would consider.
Because the postseason would start. It's the Tuesday right after the season ends.
The wild card series starts the Tuesday after the season ends.
Yeah. And right now they would be facing, I think it's the Red Sox, right? As we record this, I think the Red Sox now are
they the third?
I think I'm pretty sure. Well, you know what? We've got the internet, Ryan. I could always just check it and tell you without a doubt. That'd be fun. I mean, God, go back and play at least one game at Fenway. It'd be great. The wild card right now. The Red Sox. Hold on. Red Sox currently are the third team. That's right, because the Astros now are the second wild card. Well,
that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Would you rather play the Red Sox or the Astros if you knew you're at home for 3?
Astros.
Yeah, I think so too. Even with all the history, but they've been pretty good against the Astros at home. Red Sox have some scary moods, although Roman Anthony's not playing, but Red Sox are athletic. I don't know. And who the Red Sox would they roll out? You'd see Bayo. They haven't hit him extremely well.
We got Crochet.
Oh yeah, that's
What they don't do well against what?
Mariners have hit him a little bit though. They've beaten him before, but
I think what scares me maybe is just the mystique of them.
Yeah,
and just the whole thing with the Red Sox and just.
Can you name, besides Jarren Duran, how many Red Sox players can you name in their lineup?
Well, there's Bregman,
Duran,
Story.
I forgot Story. Nathaniel
Roman Anthony, but he's not there anymore. Well, he's there. Yeah. Chapman's out of the bullpen. Yeah,
Ceden Rafaela.
Oh, that's right. That's the guy who's really good in center field, right? I mean, it's not a who's who. I mean,
No,
it's not
I
like
just
back
was
in the
like,
day, but
I was kind of
it's
thinking though, like without Devers, I mean, not having Devers, that guy torched the Mariners,
yeah.
but so did Bregman.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going back there. I think it'd be interesting, when if they were to play them and they head back and oh, they would never even go back to Fenway. I'm
No, they
always
wouldn't have to
forgetting
go
that.
to
That's right. I
Fenway.
always forget about all 3 games would be in Seattle. That's right. So
Honestly,
they never would even have to go to Fenway. They never would have to have the mystique of it. So
honestly, to me, the worst matchup they have is the Yankees for whatever reason. They just don't play well in that park. And, like they have bad matchup with the Yankees, but the rest of them, I mean, I don't think any of them are great teams. You look at it, they're all kind of flawed.
yeah, so. Right. Well, it's a hell of a time. It's going to go right down. It seems like it's going to go right down to the wire for this, and it's probably there's going to be there'll be something on the line on that Sunday there against the LA Dodgers. All right, stuff yourself with more barbecue. Stay safe on this road trip, which is off to just a great start. I was a little worried, and we'll see what happens in the final couple of games. I was a little worried, would they be looking past Kansas City just a bit because of what's on the horizon there in Houston? And Friday is just going to be – I can't wait for Friday. I just think it's to have the opportunity to see them maybe push through that Astros wall finally. But the pitching matchup you get with Brian Wu and Hunter Brown is just, I mean, sensational. That's what sports is all about, to see that.
Did you sell your Apple Cup tickets?
No, I gave them away.
Okay. You don't want to go watch that, do you?
No, it's not because I don't want to go watch it. I coach my son's youth football team, and we've got games every Saturday, and It kicks off at 2:00.
I mean,
so it'll be wrapped up just in time. I can go back and sit and watch it. I'd love going to the game. I don't care if it's a blowout; it's a blowout. But God, I haven't been to a game there this year. It's terrible.
You like going back. I really wish you guys would have just told your AD to wait the extra week to hire Brent Vegan, who is way more equipped to handle a transition from the FCS level instead of the guy you got. Because week, they wouldn't wait 1 week. I mean, they had him locked in, and all the guy asked is, hey, can I coach in the national championship game and not announce it till after I coach in the national championship game?
And that's the Montana State head coach. Yeah. Where did he leave or stay?
No, he stayed, and he kept his 6'6" son, who's was a 3 or 4 star quarterback, with him because
I'm not closing the book yet on Jimmy Rogers, but Vegan was definitely the guy I wanted. But
I mean, a 50 burger, that kind of tough to take.
Okay, this isn't the hey, let's shit on the Cougs podcast.
Well, I got to do it.
MLB Insider Mariners podcast.
Montana barely beat North Dakota, so I got to find some solace somewhere. So
all right, enjoy your barbecue. We'll talk next week. Can't wait to recap the Houston series. Thanks, Dev.
Yeah, see ya.